Okay, so how many of you have ever lost a friend? I mean, not like dying or anything. I mean, sometimes that too, but just how many of you have lost a friend because you're too busy or you don't see them? Well, a lot of times, you know, when friendships end, it's mostly because you either find a boyfriend or girlfriend or you don't have time for them anymore. Well, the quote I chose is, friendship is like, like a plant, friendship you have to water. That's not the exact quote, but that's pretty much what it said. Friends, they're easy to find a lot. You know, you can go to school and your classes, you know, when you play a sport, or even when you're like shopping or something. It's always easy to make friends, but the hardest part is you have to keep them. You know, you can't just meet someone and expect them to be your friend forever. You have to work at it. And, you know, like at school, a lot of people are lonely or they don't have friends because some people don't like the responsibility, or some people just, you know, don't know how to keep friends. And, you know, it's really easy to find them. You know, even if you guys are both different, it's easy to be compatible with people. But it's like a plant. You know, like it's easy to plant something. It takes like 5 minutes to get in the dirt and put the seeds in, and then. But like a friend, you know, you have to keep watering it. You have to keep, you know, feeding it every day, and sometimes it's hard, and you have to make sacrifices for your friends if you really want to keep them. Like for example, my best friend. When my mom passed away, I had. You know, I had a hard time. It was that night, and it was the day before finals. And my best friend, you know, he didn't study or anything, but he came over that night and he just like sat with me all night long. And he ended up failing his final, but you know, sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for the friends you really love. So, you know, my conclusion is, if you really want to keep a friend, you really gotta work at it. And that's it. I left it on my desk. One of these. Yeah, I'm going to try it. I know, like, what we can get last night. It's like literally woke me up. Like, I mean, it's like stuff that you put on your it only works like 5 minutes. I probably just have to do it. Yeah.
All right, Stephanie, the question that you asked at the beginning was a little awkward, but you got through it, and you made a good transition. You ought to have the quote exact. It's on a piece of paper, and you should have the piece of paper in your hand so that you can make reference on it. But you came pretty close. It was clear what your thesis was. There's no setup of what the content's going to be. You have some good ideas, but not enough follow-through on the content. I like the one example that you have where you're talking about your friend who, you know, they made sacrifices in order to maintain that friendship. That's a pretty dramatic one. I think you could use some everyday kinds of illustrations also. On the presentation, you project your voice well. There's good variety there. The notes in your hands were a little distracting, so they limit your gestures to some degree. I thought your facial expressions, your eye contact were very vivid and involved. The posture thing is where your anxiety all comes out. It's in your feet. You've got you keep shifting your weight from one side to the other much too regularly, and you look like you've got antsy feet there. At the end of the speech, you've got "and that's it" as your exit line, and actually right before that you had a pretty good idea. If you could find a graceful way to use that idea as your exit line, I think it would have worked better. All right, thank you.